UCT and Vidya Bharati for giving me. Is it? Am I audible?
Yeah.
I think it's okay. So, like I'm thankful to both Vidya Bharati and IUCT for giving me this opportunity to speak here. I'm Sanjay Srivastava, not Sanjeev Srivastava, as has been mentioned in the many documents related to this program. And my affiliation is Banaras Hindu University, Department of Political Science, Faculty of Social Sciences. I'm not an educationist, like the scholar of education. Rather, I'm a social scientist, but I consider that field of education is more associated with social sciences than it is with the natural sciences. I'm not here speaking to you regarding the philosophy or the something more theoretical about the national education policy. Rather, I was speaking to you what I have seen at Banaras Hindu University, how the things have been implemented or on the way of implementation, and what are the hurdles, what are the problems, and what are the issues. You know, the topic of this panel is the accelerating implementation. Let me tell you that there is no magic wand that can accelerate the things, and there is no shortcut to success. It has been a long process of first preparing the national education policy. Like it was due since last 4 decades now, and more than 4 decades, and its implementation is also a very gigantic in nature. Okay, so what I have seen, what is my practical experience here at Banaras Hindu University, I will be speaking to you from that point of view. My approach is basically diagnostic, and my methodology is more empirical, because it is based on my personal understanding of the things, or how the things have proceeded at Banaras Hindu University. This includes also a case study of the bachelor's degree in Hindu studies. We are going to introduce this BA in Hindu studies. We have already have a course on masters in Hindu studies. So I have the whole plan here with me, that how we have what papers we have chosen, and what credits and what type of paper they are with nomenclature. Of course, it is not complete, because the fourth and the fourth year, 7th and the 8th semester is yet to be finalized. We are working on that. So, and I will be giving this to the members of the IUCT here, so that you can get a copy of it. And I would like that you see it, and if you can, try to push it through in your universities as well. Okay, I think that will be a great contribution, something to the Indian knowledge system, or the larger idea on which we are working with this national education policy. You know that when we started working on national education policy, our Vice Chancellor said that all of us go for the action research. The action research is a way when you are doing a major research, and on that way you are on a path, and you try to solve the problem by doing small researches. That is called the action research in education as well as in the social sciences. So he was of the idea that you start with the action research, you collect the data, you analyze the data, and you make the inference. Because autonomy, giving autonomy to the education institution, HEIs, higher education institution, is one of the prime goal of the National Education Policy 2020. Okay. So it is not that everything will be done by the government or everything will be done by the UGC. much was left on the HEIs and the universities. So the universities have to do a lot of work. The framework has been made by the UGC regarding many things. Government of India and the other, think tanks like Vidya Bharati and the other bodies working on this. But universities, in the light of those frameworks, will have to, decide the nitty-gritties, decide the details of things, and how to implement it. Because it's a CPA kind of thing that you have to prepare a curriculum, you have to draw the pedagogy, and you have to do the assessment and then move forward. So, in the action research, on every aspect of the national education policy, first our team of the teachers, we did the action research and we tried to find out the data. That what we have done so far, what the other universities have done so far, and what all of us doing now, and what the national education policy says. And what will be the possible impact of the national education policy in next 10 years on Banaras Hindu University. So that is how, we try to move up. This, and another important thing which we find, that as Professor Joshi was also saying, that many of us haven't read the national education policy, which is not a very big document, just of 65 pages, or even the excerpts of it. And like an old habit which died very hard, we wanted everything to come from the UGC, and we will be just following, just joining the dots and make the things clear. But this is a bit different this time, because we are going to make a complete overhaul of the things. And that is a very gigantic task, because this national education policy not only, tries to revamp our education system, but simultaneously its impact will be on the country's socio-economic system as well. So it is going to metamorphosize, the whole nation, taking India, to the education policy, which is commensurate to the India's, rising power status, or a major power status, of making India a great, knowledge economy. Okay, so this type of, it's not just something like done in a piecemeal manner, and then you get the result. For example, we made a change from annual examination system to the semester or to the tri-semester. Okay, so it is not that it's just a small change, but it is a big change. The policy provided us with an opportunity to reimagine, redesign, and restructure the entire system to make higher education the engine that will drive research and development of the economy and the society. So it is just, restructuring the whole thing. And of course, teachers, like we teachers, are the pivot to this, and we have to do this. So this is something very, very gigantic. Often, I have seen people criticizing, saying that the policy is utopian, and it is creating chaos, and specialization is being killed at the cost of multidisciplinarity, or many, many such things. But it is not. This presentation will show you this, that specialization is not being killed. It's still the emphasis, despite the multidisciplinarity, the emphasis is on the specialization, even at the undergraduate level. Okay, and it is not chaotic, and it is not that government is sitting idly. Government is working, think tanks are working, we are also working, but the thing is that the task is so big, and as Professor Joshi said, that COVID came in the way, and the whole society got disturbed because of that. So that lingered the thing, but it's still like we are able to cope up. the first gigantic thing is to move towards the multidisciplinary university, or be a part of multidisciplinary university, or be a part of and to become a cluster universities. Slowly, gradually, the individual colleges, they will, wither away, or they will be merged in the cluster university type of thing, which will be multidisciplinary in nature. Professor has already talked about it, so I'm not going in the detail. Then adequate measures have to be taken to ensure the capacity building of the institution and faculty to formulate and implement a multidisciplinary liberal education framework. This already has been dealt. Another important recommendation is the development and implementation of a multidisciplinary flexible curriculum. This is the point, this is the hurdle where most of the universities are stuck now. Today, this is the major issue which is coming before the university. And I'm going to take up this as a case study in case of Bharat Adhyan Kendra of Banaras Hindu University, which framed a 4-year bachelor degree course in Hindu studies. Okay. So this is, something where all of us are, are unable to move forward or trying to move forward, and that is, something we find it difficult. Now, HECI has to establish the NAC, as Professor has already talked about, that there will be many NAC. Then capacity building, this I think is a petition, and the choice-based credit system in the curriculum design and implementation of granting of greater freedom and creating the academic bank of credit. That is another major challenge, but fortunately government has come out with a framework regarding the academic bank of credit, and which is there in place, and very soon we will be going to use it. Now, what are the action required? We need to accelerate in governance, and we need to bring out the structure that is needed for the HECI, Higher Education Commission of India. The part is that, till now we haven't been able to do this, to bring this, and mostly, we are relying on the University Grants Commission for this. Modifying the ordinances, because until and unless you modify the ordinance of your university or the autonomous college, you cannot bring the multiple entry and the exit or the academic bank of credit, kind of facilities which we are getting in spirit. Okay. The thing is here that ordinance, change in the ordinance doesn't require much effort, because it is simply done through the executive councils of the university. It is passed by the academic council, and then it is brought before the executive council. This is just a matter of steps to be taken and in the process, and that can be done very soon. Now, revamping of the curriculum, pedagogy and assessment and student support needs to be accelerated. Here again I will say that this is the same thing where we are stranded now, or we are held up, and the reason simply being that the NEP 2020 has left this on the institution themselves, that they have to decide things as per their capabilities, as per their choice. It is their, autonomy, that as per, it could be something like region specific, emphasis can be given a particular thing where the institution thinks that it is strong, or the kind of faculty it is having. Now, classification of the universities in the research intensive and the teaching intensive university, this hasn't been done yet. We need to do this, and do this expeditiously. There is clause 12.6 and 15.9, they deal with the global standards. Like in all curriculum making, we have to, be at par with the global standards. So not only that we are collecting the data of our universities, the universities in India, we have also to collect the data of the international universities. Major international universities, say top 10 to 15 or 25 universities, that what they are doing, what kind of curriculum they are having. only then we will be having a sort of a global standard. Because this is, one of the major aim and aspiration of the national education policy, that our education system should be at par with the global standard. Okay. And another is, which is very important, I mean, it may not concern you because most of you are from the undergraduate, colleges, that PhD students have to be taken now very seriously, that many of them could be the future assistant professors. And that is why they should also be involved in the making of the curriculum, formulation of the curriculum, formulation of the pedagogy, formulation of the assessment process. And even they should, they are still taking, and they should be emphasized to take the classes in their universities. Then infrastructure for technology, integration. We had plan of the National Educational Technology Forum, which we are still waiting to be formulated or to come up. So these are something which we need acceleration here. That the government should act more expeditiously, so that we can have these things in place, this system in place, and finally we are able to do things as per our time deadlines, or we can meet the time deadlines. Now, institutional development program for the universities in the light of the national education policy is also required to be made, and many universities are working on it. You already have a lecture on this. Then all leadership be placed on time. We have seen many universities where there is no vice chancellor, no regular vice chancellor. Only the in charge vice chancellors are working. So we have to at least do this, that the leadership should be in place. Otherwise it's going to be, you are taking a gigantic task in the universities without a leader, without a regular leader. Now, it is not. Can you connect it with internet and show? Click on the links. Link को कर सकते हैं? इस link को. तो link को click करिए, जब कैसे होगा? Edit नहीं, हाँ? नहीं होगा. अच्छा. On many issues, the UGC has already worked. They have created frameworks. The problem is that we haven't gone to these pages on internet. We haven't received, these documents, or we have received in our emails, but we didn't have time to, read these things. For example, the framework for the Academic Bank of Credit is ready. Multiple entry and exit in academic programs, this is also ready. I will leave this here so that you can get all these documents. Then transformation of single stream higher education institution into multidisciplinary institution. This document, this framework is also ready. Then common university entrance test is already taking place, you know it. Online and the ODL education norms regarding this, the framework regarding this is also ready. SWAM and the MOOCs is already in vogue. We know most of these. Internship, apprenticeship, embedded degree program, which is part of our undergraduate program, its framework is also ready. We have to see it and formulate our curriculums. Then academic collaborations with foreign higher education institutions for joint and dual degree programs. This framework is also ready. Many of us do not know about these things. So one of the major hurdle and in the way of acceleration is our awareness, is our poor awareness, because we don't get time from our routine activities in the universities and the colleges. Then Office of the International Affairs. All the universities will now have the Office of the International Affairs, and there is a clear-cut guideline regarding this. And you can open these all on your website now, on your mobile phones now. Then all universities will have the Alumni Connect, global citizenship education in higher education institutions, establishment of research and development cells in the HEIs. So all these frameworks, rules, or the norms, whatever you call, are ready. Pursuing 2 academic programs simultaneously, professor of practice, the notification you would have seen in recent months has come out. Curriculum and credit framework for undergraduate program, this is also ready. Minimum standard and procedures for award of PhD degrees, this is in place. Fostering social responsibility and community engagement in higher education institution in India is ready. And the basic facilities and amenities for women for a safe, secure environment, this framework is also ready. So, why I am mentioning this, that the government has done its job well. ऐसा नहीं है कि सरकार ने काम नहीं किया है. The government has done its job very well, and they have been successful. Now the ball mostly in our court regarding the curriculum, the making of the curriculum. Now, here is a problem that for 4 years or even the 3 years undergraduate curriculum, undergraduate syllabus, national education policy or the framework regarding this made by UGC says that one semester will have 7 kinds of courses. 7 kinds of courses. There will be 3 discipline-specific courses of 4 credit each, that is the 12 credit. Then, 1 discipline-specific elective, that is the 4 credit. So it means out of the total 32 credits, 16 credits are the discipline-specific credits. So it's not that the specialization has been taken out. The discipline specific and the discipline elective, courses are there, and they make, they have the larger share in the whole pie of the curriculum framework. Then the third is the general elective course. It is also of 4 credits. I will give you the example when I come to the case study of this Bachelor in Hindu Studies. Then the skill enhancement course, this is of 2 credits. Value addition course, this is of 2 credits. And Indian language, this is of 1 credit. Now, our universities have to formulate these courses. Now, till the DSC and DSE is concerned, there is no problem, because we already have a curriculum with us, and we have to make some changes in it, or modernize it, or to add something more, or to delete, which is not necessary. The problem starts with 3 to 7. 3 to 7, that is the GEC, AEC, SEC, VAC, and IL. Okay. So, यहाँ पर आकर के गाड़ी जो है थोड़ा धीमी हो रही है, क्योंकि ये सारी चीजें, all these things we have to formulate, we have to create. Okay. अब देखें, we started this Hindu Studies course, Bachelor's Hindu Studies course. This is from the UGC's framework. Here you see that there are 3, discipline-specific courses of 4 credit each. Then you have DSE, discipline-specific elective 4 credit, general elective 4 credit 1. Then ability enhancement 2. Then SEC 2 credits. I often forget their full forms. That the special SEC is skill enhancement, and then the IAPO, that's the apprenticeship and other kind of things, and the VAC is the value addition, 1 course of 2 credit. I will leave all these things here, so you will get the presentation. So this is the framework for curriculum development, which every university has to do. Now this is the first semester, and the second semester is likewise. There is no change in the second semester, only change in the nomenclature of the courses and the contents of the courses. Now coming to this is the third semester. Now after doing 2 semesters, there will be an exit point. If someone has done 2 semesters successfully, then there is the exit point, and if the student wants to leave, he can leave and he will get the undergraduate certificate in the field of study of Buddhism. Suppose he is enrolled in the Hindu studies, so he will get the undergraduate certificate in Hindu studies. Okay, here he can leave after 2 semesters. He can leave. In the third semester, we also almost see the same thing, same kind of distribution among the 7 types of the courses. In the 5th semester, 4th is likewise. In the 5th semester, there is another exit point, and the exit point is that if a student leaves, the course after 4th semester, he has done the thing successfully, then he will get the undergraduate diploma in the field of study or the discipline, whatever it is. Okay. Now, this is the same like I told you just now. Now we have made this, just to give you an idea, I have made this, we have made this, we are still working on this. This is the Bachelor in Hindu Studies. This is the 4 years course with 8 semesters. And in the semester 1, in the discipline specific course, we have Bharti Rishi Gyan Evam Gyan Parampara, if you can read it in Hindi. Second is Bharti Sahitya Ki Ruprekha, and third is Sanatan Dharma Ke Mool Tattva Evam Siddhant. Now discipline specific courses, elective courses we have left because we want to get it from the other faculties, because the other faculties will also be making the similar kind of things, and the student can go and take that, and that will bring the required multidisciplinarity in the curriculum. Now in the ability enhancement courses, we have Yoga and Ayurveda के परिप्रेक्ष्य में उपनिषदिक चिंतन. Here, studying the Upanishad will add to his ability, what we think. Now in the skill enhancement, we are giving him a course on Bharati Vastu Shastra के की आधार भूमि या उसके आधारभूत तत्व. And in the value addition, which is more internalized kind of thing, we are giving the intent and nature of adhyatma. जो spirituality है, उसका nature क्या है और उसके intent क्या है, इसके बारे में उसको ज्ञान दिया जाएगा. So this is value addition. Okay. Then in the general elective courses, Bharat ka Paramparik Bhugol, this is what we are offering. And for this, we will be relying on the Department of Geography of our university. And in the language course, we have the Sanskrit Bhasha ka Samanya Parichay. Okay. So in this way, we have, framed this curriculum so that the student has all kinds of necessary 7 kinds of, courses which are required with him, and that not only it adds to its values, it adds to his skills and the ability as well. Okay. So, and
sir, what about the discipline specific courses?
जी, मैंने बताया ना just now कि that we have left this for courses framed in the other faculties, and the student will take courses there and he will go and attend classes there. So that will bring the multidisciplinarity. In the second also, like जो discipline specific courses हैं वो तो ठीक ही हैं, कोई इसमें दिक्कत नहीं है. हम लोगों ने एबिलिटी एनहांसमेंट में इसमें योग और आयुर्वेद का परिचय एवं मूलभूत सिद्धांत, दिस वी हैव पुट. ये योग और आयुर्वेद का जो परिचय है वो उसकी एबिलिटी को इनहांस करेगा. देन स्किल एनहांसमेंट में हमने फिर जो हमारा फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर था उसका पार्ट 2 रखा है. आजकल वास्तु पे बहुत बात हो रही है, तो ये स्टूडेंट जो है उसका उसका और एडवांस वर्जन सीखेगा, एंड दिस कुड ऐड टू हिज वे ऑफ अर्निंग ऑल्सो, से वो अर्न भी कर सकता है अगर वो इस नॉलेज को प्रयोग में लाएगा, तो ही कैन गेट सॉर्ट ऑफ हिज ओन concern which advises on the Vastu Shastra. Okay. Then we have added sadhana traditions in the value addition course, which is once again very important, where the sadhana that will add to his inner self, inwardly improvement that can bring. So, and this also serves the Indian knowledge system. So it's not only the multidisciplinarity, but it also emphasizes on Indian culture, Indian civilization, Indian knowledge tradition, Indian philosophy, and such kind of things. Okay. So when we are formulating a curriculum, we have to see the National Education Policy 2020 in a holistic, in totality. Like we cannot form a curriculum without taking the NEP 2020 in totality. If we see it in the segregated form, there will be a problem. Like we will bring one thing and we will not bring other other thing. And in that way, our curriculum is going to be deficient or not up to the global standards. So we are introducing Bachelor in Hindu Studies at Banaras Hindu University because we have that kind of infrastructural facility with us. We have the library, we have the certain laboratories, we have the computer lab, equipped with such things, and the teachers also. So this is left on the institution, that with your ability and with your kind of strength, you have to play on your strength. जो भी आपके strength है उसके ऊपर आप काम करिए and you prepare your own courses. इसी तरह से सेकेंड और थर्ड और फोर्थ सेमेस्टर भी है, मैं इसको छोड़ दूंगा, so you can always see it. So this is the case of what I have learned by formulating the curriculum code framework. This is not so this is all from my side, my practical experience, or what I diagnosed while formulating these curriculums, and this could be useful when you go in your universities or you're in the bodies of the university and you try to formulate a curriculum. So thank you very much for this. My only request with you to have awareness about the National Education Policy 2020 and what government has done so far. Many of us do not know what the things are already in the bag. So this is very much required, and let's try to help your university in formulating the curriculum. If you have any question.
Sir, one question. In some of the lectures, yoga and Ayurveda is not related to Hinduism. It is said like that.
Sorry.
But in this course,
Yoga.
In some of the lectures, it is said that yoga and Ayurveda, these are not related. Particularly, yoga is not related to any religion. Any religion. But in this course, yoga is attached.
Do you consider Hinduism as a sort of we are taking a broader definition of Hinduism. It's a way of life. It's not. This is not the course about the Sanatan Dharma. There's a difference.
Any other question? We can take two more questions.
देखिए जो एबिलिटी एनहांसमेंट और वैल्यू एडिशन, इस तरह के जो करिकुलम्स हैं उसमें सचमुच हमें काम करना पड़ेगा, है ना। कि हमारे एरिया में जैसे हम पॉलिटिकल साइंस में अगर कोई फिल्म बना रहे हैं तो उसमें वैल्यू एडिशन कैसे हो सकता है,
उसमें स्किल एनहांसमेंट कैसे हो सकता है, उसमें किस तरह से ऐसे कोर्सेज हो सकते हैं जिनकी मार्केटेबिलिटी भी है। तो ये दिस रिक्वायर्स अ लॉट ऑफ पॉइंट, दिस रिक्वायर्स अ लॉट ऑफ डिस्कशन एंड gradually we are doing that and hopefully.
Sir, I have one
Next
small
couple of
question
months.
myself. Sir, like we said, we are going for the 4-year degree program, and in the 4th year, we'll be focusing on to the research-oriented thing.
देखिए, दोनों चीजें हैं। अगर आपको 4 years में नहीं जाना है तो आप 3 years भी कर सकते हैं।
Yes.
In that case, you will have to go for 2 years masters.
Okay. No, sir. My whole question is like, if somebody wanted to have this 4-year degree course, like most of the UG colleges nowadays, in Delhi University also, they don't have this kind of research facility there. Like for the basically science courses, they don't have that kind of research labs, so they can accommodate student for the research purpose for 1 year thesis. Like if you wanted just to write a theoretical thesis, then it is okay. But if you wanted to do the experimental work, then it will be a problem for the UG colleges. What could be the proper solution for that?
देखिए, अब if you haven't implemented it yet, you will be doing it from the 1st July 2023.
Yes.
Okay. So your 4th year will come sometime in 27.
Sir.
So you will have these 3 years for categorization, that you are merged, you become part of a cluster of the university, or you become an autonomous institution, or you become yourself a university. So these things, I mean, in next 3 years will be sorted.
Thank you, sir. Any other question?
Sir,
अभी जो पहला साल है अभी जो पहला साल है, पहले 3 साल तक ऐसी कोई बहुत बड़ी दिक्कत नहीं है।
But sir, we have to make the facilities.
सिलेबस
for
तो आपको
that.
बनाना पड़ेगा।
We have to make the curriculum, we have to make the facility, ensure that whatever we are actually planning, we should have at our institution. So that is what we can have as a
पहले 2
short-term
साल
goal.
तक तो मुझे नहीं लगता है कि कोई ऐसी दिक्कत होगी। हाँ सर।
Sir, this so in my locality, so within 5-kilometer radius, so there are 3 colleges. So there is a limitation in enrollment, sir. So we also fail to, due to some reasons, the students from the outside. Okay. Now, if we think about this cluster concept, sir, either we have to merge with with other institutions, or we can think for the
You
cluster.
have to merge, but not merge physically.
Yeah.
Like you need not to change your location.
Hmm. And within 5-10 years, so I don't think that I can increase my this enrollment level. So as prescribed by the NEP, say 3,000. So in this situation, so is there any model developed for this the cluster system, sir, till now?
There are many universities. One I know is in Jammu Cluster University, where they have several colleges clustered with the university. So the model is there, and as far as your specific need of the Northeast, I think when you feel problem in implementing this, and this goes to the National Education Authority, the government or the UGC, I think they may have a sort of a more distinct kind of thing which suits to your requirement, which suits to your compulsions. I think there could be some sort of change. Sir,
to supplement what he has said, what I would like to add is say colleges are taking into account the need of the places. Now, those students, I think colleges where the enrollment is much lesser than expected. Now, although there are exchange of students, now from a long distance to go for the other.
clustering does not mean that the location will be changed.
No, that's why.
The location of the institution will be same. Your academic interaction with the university will increase. Like there will be more professors coming from university, teaching into those colleges and be clustered with the university. Or sort of a complex being created that these students can go and consult the library at university. Or they can have more facilities, that are with the university. Because they have the better, blessed with more resources, more kind of facilities, infrastructure. So the cluster colleges, the students of the cluster colleges will start getting those facilities. There will not be a change in the geographical. Physically, they will not change.
Sir, I have a query. In the NEP, there is a policy that we should have to apply the career counseling approaches to the students.
Sorry.
Career counseling approaches. So, in Hindu studies, what types of career counseling we can provide? We can provide to the students. Career opportunities or career.
Yeah, it is the course is full of value addition and the skill enhancement. जैसे हमने वास्तुशास्त्र का एक कोर्स किया हुआ है, योगा का कोर्स किया है, एक आयुर्वेद का कोर्स किया हुआ है, तो ये सारी चीज़ें तो उसके कैरियर को इम्प्रूव कर सकती हैं, वो चाहे तो यूज़ कर सकता है। आज आप सब जगह जगह आप प्लैकार्ड्स देखते हैं वास्तुशास्त्र से रिलेटेड, आयुर्वेद से रिलेटेड या योगा से रिलेटेड, one can even try it.
Like a yoga instructor or
Yoga instructor, or one can start one's own yoga studio.
and Vastu consultancy.
And of course, one can also apply for the government jobs. Ji sir.
Thank you for your presentation. I just would like to know two things from your presentation. You have mentioned that 7 November 22 PhD regulations by the UGC. You have referred to that you have engaged research scholars 4 to 6 hours. Has it been implemented in your university? If it is implemented, what model you have adopted? Because any of the research scholars, even the assistant professors, are supposed to get the orientation in order to teach them to know what is really pedagogy. Number one. Number two, you have also mentioned about CUET. Referring to the Northeast, very recently, 4th March, there is a kind of clarification for UGC, considering the difficulties to implement CUET. That we have adopted central universities entrance tests for graduate to master's level, and we have encountered a lot of problems. These are the practical issues which we can discuss. So, what kind of situation you are encountering? Is it a free smooth or not? For Northeast, we have written, though the UGC chairman have categorically spoken in the MP this meeting with Usta Siksas, has said no, it has to be followed. But after given that assurance, now one more rectification has come. So this has given a kind of challenge for us. I'm taking it positively. The challenges we have to face, but how we are going to go. Thank you.
Regarding the PhDs, the unfortunate part with Banaras University is that we do not have the executive council since last 1.5 years. Okay, so any ordinance, any change in the ordinance become effective or validated, it needs to be validated by the executive council. So we have our ordinance ready. We need the constitution of the executive council. Once it is constituted, we are likely to get it through. Now, as far as the teaching is concerned by the PhD students, it is not necessary that you use them as a teacher in the class. Rather, they can have a role of the assistant teachers. Okay. that they will assist a professor. Suppose there is a semester, assignment. You can ask them that you can give a template to them that how it is to be evaluated, and they can evaluate it. Or if there is a query from a side of a student on your email, your research scholar can answer this. So such kind of things are there. Even the orientation course for the regular teacher is there, but it is when he applies for that, he goes and takes up the orientation course. But even without taking the orientation course, he can teach. The only thing is orientation is required for his promotion. If he and when it was not there, the people have been teaching without any orientation or requirement in the colleges and the universities. Okay. And your second was regarding the CUET. For example, there are many institutions who say that they are the minority institution. For example, there is one university called Jamia Millia Islamia India, and I am on the executive council of that university. And they said the same thing, what you are saying, the kind of problems they face last year. I don't know about what is your situation at your end, how compulsive it is. I don't know, you know it better. So I told the Vice Chancellor that you cannot, implement the National Education Policy 2020 in isolation. You have to be a part of the system. Without becoming part of the system, you cannot do this. I understand that the CUET last year, or the first time it was held, the LTA did not have this idea that how massive this system is going to be, and you are going to execute it in the entire university, which is millions of students going to appear. So there were certain problems at that end, but I think by now they have solved all those problems. You are going to get the results on time, and I think this is it is and the UGC has categorically come out. The secretary issued 2 letters that it is compulsory on part of every institution to become part of this. There is no choice as such. So if one wants to defy the instructions of the chairman of the UGC, it is different. Otherwise, one has to follow. I don't know what is Jamia going to do now, because we are waiting for the next executive council meeting. See how they come up. But yes, there are institutions who said that there is problem. They faced the problem last year. But everything that begins, you have the teething problem. Teething troubles तो होगा ही आपको. तो but that is for good. बच्चे की भी दांत निकलते हैं तो उसको दर्द होता है, बुखार आ जाता है, तो वो रुके जब एक बार दांत आ जाते हैं तो फिर उसके लिए यूजफुल होता है. तो आइसोलेशन में हमें नहीं सोचना चाहिए कि हम नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी को इम्प्लीमेंट करें. अब इसको सबके साथ रह के करें, सिस्टम का पार्ट होकर करें. जिन सारी चीज़ों में जब हमें पैसा भी उन्हीं से मांगने जाना है, सारी चीज़ें उनसे ही आनी है, तो फिर लेट अस बेटर टू बी पार्ट ऑफ दैट.
Thank you, sir.